fuck going on? I feel pretty chill. I've been fucking doing pull-ups and shit today. Fucking ran. Meditated for an hour. Never meditated for an hour before. Felt pretty good. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna talk about, man. I ain't gonna lie. I just set this thing up, see what the fuck going on, because I want to record more podcasts. I have time, got nothing better to do, so we might as well just fucking record more podcasts, get the channel going. Well, I guess me and Chance got a washer and dryer yesterday. We fucking had to drag it through the fucking apartment to the fucking apartment, or through the hallway. We had to, I farted. We had to go into the apartment with a dolly, and that shit was heavy as fuck. But then we got it all in there, hooked up the washer, tried to hook up the dryer, fucking different cord. So I gotta go with my dad today to find a fucking cord. And we were stupid too, because we fucking pulled the washer in, couldn't get it in, so we fucking took the washer off the washer door off the washer, so we had a little bit more room, and then we fucking just barely got it in, like a fucking hair's length away from the fucking trim of the door where the door is supposed to be. We just got that thing in. And then we realized with the dryer that we could just fucking turn it the other way and get it in that way without any struggle at all, mind you. We fucking just pulled it in. We're like, why the fuck didn't we do that? We looked at each other and we're like, dude, we're fucking retarded. Like, what are we doing? And so that happened. I've been doing push-ups and shit a lot lately, actually, because Chance has a pull-up bar, so I fucking just set that shit up. Been doing pull-ups. My back's getting super strong. My body's never been more toned. It's pretty awesome. I guess I got a job. Got a job on Monday. Gonna be a welder again. So it's kind of cool because my first ever podcast I started, it was my intro to the podcast. And in that letter I had read, I said, I'm a welder. And then I realized the other day, maybe yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I'm like, damn, I wasn't a welder. But I guess I had talked about working other jobs. It's pretty crazy that this podcast's been going on for a fucking long time now. You guys and me and you guys fucking been doing this shit for a decent amount of time. Just sitting down, having a conversation about life, universe, whatever the fuck going on. I was gonna talk about society, but I have no specific thing that I want to talk about, because the reason I was going to talk about it is just because I was driving. Like, should I record a podcast? Should I not record a podcast? And then I fucking was like, well, we should talk about society, because I'm sitting here, a fucking semi-advanced primate that somehow gained enough consciousness to be aware of what the hell it's doing. But not only that, I'm a monkey basically sitting in this metal box that we had built to get from A to B faster rather than a horse or foot by foot. And it's just insane. Like, what the fuck? Humans have accomplished so much since we were hunter-gatherers, man. Like, it's amazing the kind of fucking shit we've been able to do. Everything we need is here in this time, and if we don't need it, or if we don't have it, we're on the verge of making it, like Neuralink, whatever the hell else that we got going on, AI. AI is pretty crazy, though. That thing's getting smart as fuck, because it was just released. It was literally just released a few years ago, and it's already taken over everything. Snapchat's got an AI, Samsung's got an AI, Google's got an AI. Everybody's got to have an AI. And not only that, but those fucking Meta goggles and the iPhone goggles, those are getting crazy as well. We're moving into technology so fast, and nobody knows what's going on. Obviously some people know what's going on, but a lot of us don't consciously think about it. That's why I like to think of basic things. I've said this before, but things like us driving around or us fucking being able to have a house that we come into. This is my dad's house, but it's pretty insane what humans have been able to accomplish in a relatively short amount of time too. Like, we haven't been around that long, maybe millions of years. Definitely not billions, I don't think. Yeah. Our base genes might have been around for millions of years, but the fucking planet itself, 4 billion years old. And not just that, but the universe is like 13.9 billion years old, and it could be older. That's the crazy part. We're finding new shit in the universe all the time. That's why I love space, man, because it humbles you, keeps you fucking thinking, holy shit, there's more out there than just me. Even if you don't believe in a higher power or whatever it may be, look at the fucking sky. Look up, man. All you got to do is look up, or look at the ocean, or a giant mountain, and it makes you realize how small we are. It's like, god damn, and how short our lifespan is, and that could be depressing in some senses, but in some situations, but we're here to live in a short amount of time for a reason, I believe. We're like bees. I've said that before. We work in a hive, and once the older bees get old, or the bees get old, they have to fucking die off, and not only die off, but they teach the other generations of bees how to be bees, basically. I mean, there's instincts involved in all that, obviously, but a lot of it's taught behavior as well. And animals are super intelligent. I mean, obviously, we're animals. There's no getting around that. But the reasoning behind us being bees, more or less, is because we move in like a hive. The things we do, we think we're doing independent things, but we're not. And we come together to do these amazing tasks like building houses and building cars and building buildings. And it takes a lot of us to do so. Even with the heavy machinery, even with all that shit, it takes a lot of humans to do these complex tasks that humans want to achieve. Science, history, all this shit, to figure all that out, we need a lot of humans. And humans aren't supposed to be here for that long for that reason, because once we have accomplished what we need to accomplish, hopefully, if you've been doing what you think is right throughout your life, and that could be warped. My version of what could be right could be warped. Nobody knows what the hell is right or what's wrong. I mean, obviously we know certain things like some substances and obviously some other things, but like, it's hard to tell what's right and wrong because we all have different perspectives on how to live and how to be happy. And that's where the Bill of Rights comes in, and the Declaration of Independence, where we're guaranteed freedom or life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to do what we see fit, because that's what America was supposed to be. This country is one of the greatest countries we've ever fucking founded, man. It's the freedom we have here is absolutely insane. And it can be taken away in the blink of an eye. That's the thing. If you fuck up with the law or fuck up with some kind of institution where they can hold you accountable, it's going to take a long time to get back, man. Like, you got to jump through a lot of holes and hoops and all this shit to get back to freedom. And it makes you realize how limited and how important it can be. The freedom we have in this country, it's not free. We have to fight for it. And if we're not fighting for it constantly, then it's just going to be taken from us. They're always fucking trying to infringe on our rights. Like, I think they banned flavored nicotine pouches in California because apparently they're too addictive for children. But the thing about that is, that's bad parenting. That's not bad government policy, right? Your parents are supposed to teach you right from wrong, tell you don't do this, and lead by example to how you're supposed to live your life. And if you're not having that, and the government thinks they need to step in, then the government becomes our parents, and they tell us what we can and can't do. And that's a slippery slope, because if they wanted to, they'd probably take all our rights away. I'm not even going to lie about it, because it would make it not only a lot easier for them to maintain and control the population, but it would make them more money. It would make them last longer in office. Eventually, we'd probably get a dictator. I mean, the government's not here for us. It's here for itself. And that's the unfortunate part. It was set up for us, set up by humans, but for humans. But now it's not really humans anymore as we used to be. It's politicians. Yeah, that's a form of human, but it's a way different form of human than most people. Most people don't live that kind of life. And most people live a pretty normal life, or normal considered by society, to where we just go to work, we come home, we pay our bills, we take care of our family, our friends. It's really all we do. Politicians don't do that. Obviously they have friends, family, all that shit too, but they're also making policies and trying to do insider trading and doing all this shit to beef up themselves using the population, because that's basically their job. They want to be elected into office so that they can, so it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be where politicians are greedy and in it for the money and all that shit, but fortunately that's the way it's become, because people got corrupted by the system. You got to do certain things to get elected. You got to do this, you got to do that. But once you get in there, a lot of things don't happen that people say is going to happen, because, how do I word this? There's a machine behind politicians. Trump talked about it, the military-industrial complex, the military-industrial complex. Eisenhower talked about it as well. You've got the CIA, the FBI, you've got fucking all kinds of shit. Big business influencing politics. You got all kinds of shit influencing politics, man. That's why a lot of ads these days are brought to you by Pfizer, because Pfizer pays for a lot of shit. Pfizer pays for the ads on television. Pfizer pays the government to keep its shit going in the way that they want it going. Because if they don't really operate as a single, I'm pretty sure the laws are set up to where if you operate as some sort of business, the specific kind of business, then you get leeways and things like taxes and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that's how social media networks work. Social media companies work. They're not they're businesses. That's the thing. I don't know how to word it, because they are businesses. It's just I don't think that they are considered the same as businesses because they're not set up that way. It's a social media platform. It's not really, it doesn't really have a structure to it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they have buildings and stuff now, but social media is always going to be there. So it's kind of a weird business in that sense. And there's a lot of things that influence policy, but not just influence policy, but the way we see things, what the algorithm feeds us. We're being influenced all the time in certain directions. Maybe it's nefarious, maybe it's not, but I don't really believe in all that nonsense. I want to have my own freedom of thought and come up with my own ideas and think for myself. And it's kind of hard to do, because you have to do deep searches in the internet to figure out what the hell is actually going on, because they either hide it from you, or there's so much information that you don't see the information you're really needing to see. There's a lot of bullshit and fluff on social media. The fucking memes are awesome, but there's a lot of stupid fucking memes. There's a lot of stupid shit people say and post and look at. It's Chance is saying something. I'm gonna have to respond to him after. But yeah, man. What the hell is he saying? I don't know what he's saying. We'll look at it in a second. Well, in a few minutes, actually, because we got a little ways to go before I end this thing. But there's a lot of weird things going on. Society, I wish we could restructure it in a way that would help all of us, rather than benefiting these big corporations and big businesses, because we do need these big corporations, big businesses. We need social media to express our ideas and thoughts. We need big pharma, big ag. We need all these companies, but we could structure them better, not for money. That's what the problem is. We have money everywhere, and everybody values money so highly. And not just that, but these corporations and companies have to get a better number every year. And if they don't, then their investors are pissed off, and all these people are pissed off because they're not getting better numbers every year. They got to meet a new quota every year. Oh my God, why the hell do people always call me when I'm trying to do a podcast? I ain't answering it yet. I'll answer that shit later. But, yeah. And what's even crazier is humans try to operate in a way that's like it's just us here. We don't really have any respect for nature or respect for animals or respect for really other humans either. Like we're starting to lose respect for other humans. And it's kind of crazy. The way our minds being sculpted and trained in this certain way to not respect each other anymore. And that's why we all like don't trust each other and fucking hate each other and shit, is because we haven't been taught how to open ourselves up and how to get into these deep conversations that help us express ourselves and help other people understand us. Like the thing about kids is they're just learning how to talk. When they're just talking, a lot of the shit that comes out of kids' mouths is like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell are you talking about? Or what are you saying? Or you can't say that. Like, what are you doing? But the thing about them is they're just practicing. Like, you don't know how to talk when you come out. You just learn how to talk at like 1 year old. And at 8 years old, you're expected to give these fucking stupid class presentations in second grade. Like, oh, read in front of the class, kids. And you're like, I don't fucking barely know how to do this shit. Like, why are you making me do it? And so you gotta like talk a lot. I talk a lot. That's probably why I've gotten like decent at talking, is because I'm always talking like not to myself necessarily. Well, I am talking to myself. I'm not gonna like front and say I'm not. Everybody talks to themselves. That's what our thought process is us just talking to ourselves in our head. It's just sometimes I verbalize it. Like I'll have a crazy thought. I'm like, damn, that's why that is. That's crazy. I had that thought the other day, and I don't remember what the hell it was about, but it was a pretty crazy thought. And that's why I like meditating and stuff, because it gives you some weird thoughts, some crazy thoughts that some are helpful, some are just funny, some are crazy. Thoughts are awesome. If you can learn to sit in your mind and like feel the thoughts come in and not fuck with them and just watch how they go through your mind and how your body and your brain wants to react to thoughts coming in. It's kind of crazy, man. That's why Buddhism and all these religions and shit talk about being in the present moment and enlightenment and all this shit, is because it's just learning how to like control your brain. I was going to say master, but it's not mastering your brain. There's no mastering the human brain because it's got so much potential and so much capability in there. We have no idea what the full potential of the human mind is. Like there's people who can meditate for an extreme amount of time and then they can like walk on hot coals, or they can like break bricks with their hands and not feel it and shit like that. Like we could do some pretty crazy shit if we have enough discipline and willpower to not freak out and like not listen to our animalistic instincts, really, because that's where a lot of our problems come from, is this animalistic piece of human beings that is still in us. It's been in us for millions of years. I mean, it's hard to reprogram something that's been programmed. Fucking try rewiring your mind at 20 years old. It's hard, and it's only been 20 years. Now go millions of years and you try to fucking rewire what the hell's been going on. It's hard as hell. That's why evolution takes so long, because evolution and nature, they have to adapt. We have to learn how to adapt to certain issues and certain problems that arise. And that takes a long time. A lot of things are going to die. A lot of things are going to get fucked up and not know what the hell's going on. But once we learn how to adapt and overcome the certain issue, and humans have that capability better than a lot of animals. I don't know if we have the best capability, because We don't really study animals like we study humans. And we don't really study the human's ability to adapt either. Like, we're just starting to get into it with like neuroplasticity and certain things like that, mindfulness, but our ability to adapt is kind of being hindered right now. People don't want to adapt. It's like a book I read called How Successful People See the World by Emily Balsadis, and she talks about fixed mindsets and growth mindsets. A fixed mindset is when you believe you're born a certain way and that's it. There's no getting rid of it. There's no changing yourself. You're going to have these, I'm just this type of person. That's what a lot of people believe. And that kind of it hinders our ability to adapt because we're supposed to be adapting creatures. That's how we got here. I mean, if we didn't adapt to all the problems we had, we'd just die off like every other animal that couldn't adapt, right? And a growth mindset, the person believes that there is room to grow. Every problem that comes to them is an obstacle that they can use to improve themselves. And it's not going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of failures, a lot of problems that arise from this one problem. But as long as you keep moving and keep grinding, keep trying, you're going to get to a point where you're an improved person. And that's what takes, a lot of people don't want to do that. It's consistency, man. That's basically all anything is. And weeding out bad habits that fuck you over, really. I mean, if you're consistent with the gym, consistent with reading or listening to podcasts, or consistent with eating well, or consistent with sleeping well, you're going to be in a lot better position than if you just tried like every once in a while or go all willy-nilly. That's the thing, man, because it's hard to change yourself. And that's why it's hard to change yourself, because it's hard to do the same shit every day. Because one day you might be tired than the other. One day you might be angry or something pissed you off. One day you might be sad. One day some shit might have went down that stresses you out and you don't want to do shit. But that's where the discipline and the mental strength come in to overcome that. And there's a piece in your brain that Andrew Huberman talks about, and he's a neuroscientist, and he talks about this piece in your brain that grows when you do things that you necessarily don't want to do. Maybe going to work or working out or eating healthy or doing whatever it may be. It's like a muscle that grows in your brain for doing hard things. And that's why I like people like David Goggins. It looks like he's doing it effortlessly because that man's been honing his brain for years and trying to get to a point where he's a disciplined and thoughtful and well-rounded human being. And that's what everybody should be doing. School should teach us how to do that. They don't need to teach us really anything else, right? I mean, obviously we know history, all that shit. And I'm not saying we don't, which that needs to be restructured in its own sense. But we need like a class that teaches us how to be, how to live, how to be happy, at peace in ourselves and with others. I wonder why we don't have classes like that. Classes to teach us how to handle our emotions and it should be mandatory to be able to do that. Because if you teach somebody how to be a well-rounded human and how to manage their mind and their body and spirit to be happy, then we'll eliminate a lot of problems that we have in society. Because people feel a hole and they're trying to fill that hole with materialistic objects. And that's where money comes in, is because people believe money will make them happy. Oh my God, Dad. I gotta fucking respond to him, so. Jesus, he's stressing me out. I'm not gonna fucking pay attention to it. I'm just gonna keep doing it because we have to, man. Need a deep breath. Can't let it stress me out. I know he's just he probably needs something, but I'm trying to do this right now. And we got a little bit of time we gotta go. So what the fuck was I just talking about? It's distracting. That's why I was getting a little stressed out, because it's distracting. It's kind of hard to remember. Oh yeah, we were talking about being a well-rounded human. Everybody should be working on that, because if schools teach us that, We're going to eliminate a lot of problems, like the employment problem, hardworking people. Like, we have a problem with finding workers that actually want to work. We have problems with pharmaceutical people, like, not wanting to look out for the greater good of humans. We have problems with political leaders not wanting to look out for the greater good of the population. And it's like, why? All of this is stemming from us not being able to control our emotions, control our greed, control our jealousy, control all these negative things that humans are pre-programmed with. We're not just, we come into this world with these base instincts, like I was talking about before, of being an animal. And that's where jealousy and greed and all this shit come in. Nobody's taught about it. Like, it's weird because until like 17, 18, I never even considered us to be animals still. For some reason, I thought we were past that. I'm like, no, we're humans. We're not animals anymore. We used to be, but we're not now. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost and confused, is because we're not really taught about our animalistic past. I mean, a lot of people don't subscribe to evolution, which is fine, but how the fuck did we get here? You think God just put us here? I believe in God or goddess or divine spirit or whatever that is, but wouldn't evolution tie into that? Wouldn't it like start out, whatever the divine intervention was to get us on this path, wouldn't it start out with everything? Like, everything was put in place to get us to where we need to be, and that's what evolution is? Because evolution's fucking crazy, dude. Like, I've researched that shit. The fact that we came from single-celled organisms to this right here, these complex machines with bacteria and fungi and viruses, and it's insane. It's insane what human beings are. We're a complex system, and we don't think of ourselves like that. And not only did that evolve, but we had to evolve from monkeys to get to here. And that a lot of factors had to play in, and a lot of things had to go right. We almost got wiped out a couple times, and it's crazy. Like, and then now we're in this society where people are just empty. They don't feel right. Like, we all know this isn't how human beings are supposed to be living. And everybody feels unhappy. Yeah, we got to this point, and I'm happy we got to this point. We needed to get to a point where we had social media and we were able to be comfortable and do all this stuff. But why are we giving up what we used to do and what we used to have? Our animalistic tendencies and instincts, we can use them for good. Use greed, jealousy, all this stuff to fuel us towards improvement. Be like, oh, I'm feeling a little greedy right now. I need to stop doing that, and I need to be more open towards, like, either helping out or whatever it may be. Maybe your obligations or other people that you can help out. You know what I'm saying? And jealousy is the same way, where it just makes you feel like, oh, I want that. Why don't I have that? Well, this person probably worked hard for that car or that house or that job or whatever it may be. And you just got to keep working for next time, because we're young. Everybody's young. Even if you're like 60 years old, you still got a good 10, 20 years, man. Fucking, there's a lot of years. A lot of years. A lot can happen in 1 year. If you get up right now and start doing shit and grinding, imagine where you'll be in 1 year from now. Like, that's insane. Your progress will be fucking crazy if you just start working on all the things that you want to work on and getting to be the person you want to be. And it takes me back to why the school doesn't teach us that. It's weird. They teach us the baseline shit. Not even stuff we need to survive, really. And then we fucking go out into the world and we start working and never use the stuff in school that we were taught. Like, maybe that's the problem. I need to take this in out. Maybe that's the problem. It's because some kids are good at some things and other kids are good at other things. But we just put kids through the same testing as everybody else. And then we flunk them if they're not doing well, or we pass them if they excel at the way that they're teaching? What if we need different kinds of teaching? Like, obviously we do, because people were saying that we're visual learners, and we're not just visual learners, but there's auditory learners, and there's fucking all kinds of learners, man. Like, the fact that it's like Albert Einstein's quote, you wouldn't judge a fish for its ability or inability to climb a tree, because fish is made for the ocean, a monkey's made for climbing trees. Not everybody's made the same way for the same thing. And we need to restructure education system in a way that benefits everybody. Because not only would that make a more prosperous society, because everybody would be more educated and more willing to work, more at peace and more happy, but it would probably knock down the prison industrial complex, which is another problem that we could talk about. But it would allow more or less people to go to prison, and a lot more people would probably get out and stay out because we'd be more educated, because that's what leads people to a life of crime, is no options. No options, or a shitty upbringing, or I had one more example. A terrible education. Yeah, obviously, that's what I was gonna say. And if we give everybody a quality, good education, make sure that everybody's getting taught the information they need to know. Not everybody needs to know everything, right? That's why we talk to each other, because we learn different things from different types of people. And so, if we teach people specifically based on what they're interested in and give them baseline knowledge, like, we should be giving baseline knowledge on everything, history, science, all that shit. But then focus mainly on the things they're good at. If somebody's good at mathematics, make them fucking put them in these math classes that are advanced for their age or something like that, or science or history or whatever it may be, mechanics, construction, and hone these people's skills. But then teach them about trauma and self-improvement and discipline, so that they can, when they get out and they find a good position in a job that they are liking and have a good time at, and then they want to work hard because they're having a good time there, then they can hone their other abilities. Like, maybe they're bad at science, or maybe they were bad at history. Well, now they've got this baseline knowledge to fix that and start researching more. And if we teach the value of hard work, then I don't see why anybody wouldn't. Like, why wouldn't you want to be the best version of yourself? Why wouldn't you want to be happy? Why wouldn't you want to be educated? Like, the only reason we don't now is because, one, it's hard to find information. Two, the school that we go to doesn't really teach us that information. And, like, we just kind of end up in this world lost. And that's what most people are trying to do, is just find their way through life. And it's kind of hard without a roadmap, right? We need to figure out a roadmap to get people to where they need to be and keep people out of the fucking justice system. And that requires reforming laws and reforming the government, doing all these things we need to do. Because the prison industrial complex is not any better. It keeps people in prison for money. It uses people as batteries to fuel the business, really. It's another business. And unfortunately, prisoners are the commodity that they need to fucking run that business. And so they want to incarcerate people. And that's why a lot of laws are still fucked up. And unfortunately, when the laws are fucked up, you have to follow them, because you're going to get fucked if you don't. So if you don't follow these laws and you end up fucked up, how are you going to not save, obviously one person can't save everything, but how are you going to change the system in the way that you can? Because if you are in the system, it's kind of hard to change it, unless you got a lot of money and you put yourself in the system in a certain position to where you have a little bit of leverage. And unfortunately, that's not how it works most of the time. Because we've got a lot of unions lobbying to keep a lot of things illegal, a lot of things legal, so that we could fucking just basically use people. There's a lot of, I've listened to a lot of podcasts with people who have been falsely convicted or who have been given harsher sentences than probably fit for them. And a lot of them are very intelligent, educated, and fucking awesome individuals, respectful, kind. It's just they had a bad upbringing or something happened to where they ended up in a situation that got them incarcerated, and they didn't stop working. They had to get themselves out because they knew that they didn't belong there. That's the difference between a reformable citizen and a non-reformable citizen. If people get comfortable in there and start thinking that that's okay to be in that kind of situation, well, then they should get out anyway, because they're going to fucking want to go back, and then they're going to do stupid shit to get back in there. But if somebody's still working, that's what this guy I was listening to said. I was listening to him on the way back from Wisconsin, and he was talking about how that's how you know if somebody's going to reoffend or not reoffend, because they're working, even if they have no chance of getting out, if they're working on themselves and trying to be better, trying to be more educated, trying to be more respectful, all this shit, then you're going to be in a better position, and you probably are going to be in a better position to get yourself out. But people who just get comfortable and decide, oh, this is what life is now, that's a terrible way to think, especially when it comes to the prison industrial complex, because they'll be more than happy to use you in there. And they'll be more than happy to keep you there for as long as possible. It's scary, man. That's why I was talking about freedom. You need freedom. And these fucking prisoners, not only that, but America has the highest prison population in the world, first of all. We have the most prisons in the world. And we pay the prisoners like 16 cents if they're lucky. Some people don't even get that. And they're forced to work, basically. There's a lot of fucking prisons that are making things for us outside here. Food. When the pandemic was happening, they were making hand sanitizer, masks, all the shit that we needed, gloves. I mean, they're basically slaves in there. And that's what's kind of fucked up. And the problem is they don't get reformed. If you're in prison, you get reformed. But, I mean, you can't. They don't force you. That's the thing. You're just forced to serve out your sentence. They're not forcing you to improve or be a better person in there. So as long as you don't reoffend while you're in there, then they'll probably let you out again. And if you didn't try to be a better person and you've been in there for a decent amount of time, you're probably just going to go back. But I think they should incentivize teaching and all this shit, because this statistic the guy said on that podcast, he said it was like 90% of people who get like a bachelor's or associates or whatever the fuck it's called degree while they're in prison, 90% of them stay out and keep like a job that they actually wanted or use their degree for. I think that's what the problem is in our society. It's just a lack of information. Nobody's stupid. I don't believe anybody's stupid. If you have a human mind and human will and human discipline and all this shit, you could do a lot of great things. Everybody's potential is unlimited. I have to believe that. But we have to be able to work through our own minds and figure out how to be the best person we can be. And that's hard. Like I said, it's hard without a roadmap. I think we could be a better society, and I think we're on our way there, to be honest. I'm pretty optimistic. A lot of things are fucked up still, and change is hard. That's why it's fucked up, because there's a lot of things that have to go to shit before we can make them better, right? That's unfortunately how humans learn. We have to fuck shit up before we can fucking do right. And I wonder if we're gonna like weed that out with like Neuralink or AI or some shit. But another thing I want to talk about was those fucking iPhone glasses, because those are pretty cool. I didn't think they were cool at first, but then I saw some guy like working on his truck, and he could see like the YouTube videos and shit right here, but he could also see the truck, and he could work on it while like glancing over at the YouTube video without fucking looking at a phone or like he still had free hands and all this shit. Like, that's cool as fuck. Like, it's gonna make us a more sophisticated society. And you combine that with Neuralink to where it's just in our head, we can access the internet, bro. Like, come on. You just think, and it's like, oh shit. Hey, brain, pull up this. And your brain pulls it up, and you're like, okay. Then you could send it to somebody else's brain. Holy shit, bro. We're about to be something crazy. About to be a crazy ass society. But I suppose I'll end this thing so I can call my dad back, see what he needs. I love you guys. Bye.